America, welcome back to Inside the Square. I'm Chuck Barham, and we're brought to you by freedomsquare.com. And one of our partners that's been with us since the beginning at Freedom Square is Every Black Life Matters. And this guy right here, one of the president, the founder, Kevin McGary, welcome to Inside the Square. It's awesome to have you here.
Brother Chuck, it's always a pleasure, man. Much love
We
to you, bro.
Absolutely. We saw each other last week, broke some bread at a great Mexican restaurant. We started talking. I'm like, I got to get you on the program Inside the Square. But the one thing I always like to do is always like to peel back the onion, rewind the clock on who Kevin is and where Kevin came from and his background, and we'll start to move that ball forward. But first, let's figure out who Kevin is. So walk us through who you are, Kevin, because you've got a great background, interesting history, and makes you who you are today.
Yeah, so I was born in the 1960s in the San Francisco Hunters Point project housing up in San Francisco, and in the 1960s. So that if anybody knows about the 1960s and the Black Panther Party, this is where their headquarters was, where they really started. And so I was in that community for a while. Then my parents moved to a lower middle class community, not far from there, but parents that are still in San Francisco to this day, still loving each other, 63 years, and still in the same house I grew up in after we moved out of the Hunters Point projects. But point is that this brother was born in abject poverty. I was a hoodlum in the sense that I didn't do any really bad criminality stuff, but I just kind of like to bully people and just kind of crazy street stuff. So anyway, I was in that and went to a public school, but I always received good grades because my mother made it clear, look, if you don't bring home those good grades, I'm going to sick your alcoholic daddy on you, and you're going to have to fight it out with him. So dad was a pretty big guy, and I brought home the grades. Even though he was a horrible alcoholic all my formative years, he came home every day, and that made a big difference. So brought home good grades, and by the time I graduated, he was clean, and he's great. I mean, he's a mighty man of God and all of that now. But then because I had good grades, I decided to go to San Jose State. Went to San Jose State, got a degree in sociology. So let's review. So born in abject poverty, a hoodlum, a street hoodlum, boy from the hood, so to speak, and then go to San Jose State, get a sociology degree. So steeped in Marxism, clearly, steeped in leftism, progressivism in the streets of San Francisco. And then after I graduated college, met the love of my life. We've been married about 37 years now.
God
And
bless you. That's tough in
yeah,
today's age. God bless you, Kevin.
thank you.
God
Yeah.
bless you.
And we decided that we would just try to do things based on our faith biblically, and decided to take God at his word. And that really resulted in us really looking at and interrogating the various political parties and their platforms.
How
And
much were you dripped? I mean, growing up where you were and where you went to school, what was your way of thinking of the world when grown up and then graduated? Were you like, white man's keeping us down, or are you more like, hey, I can do whatever I want to do based upon what I do, and it's my personal responsibility? Did you have that fire in you, or
yeah,
did
I
it come
always had
later
to
in
fight.
life?
I always had to fire. I love. I'm a fighter. I'm not the kind of guy that would, be anybody's victim. So that was just, I was born with that fight and that fire. So I wouldn't settle for, white man's got to hold the brothers down. No, 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 not this brother. I'm gonna get out there. I'm gonna fight for mine. So I didn't have the victim mentality. I did believe that I believed all of the tropes about the Republican Party versus Democrat Party and all of that kind of stuff. But you kind of learn that in the streets, and it's all false narratives type stuff, right? So when I took a look at the platforms, realized that what in the world have I been voting for? I've been literally voting and supporting a platform that is completely antithetical to any person of faith, in my opinion, and completely antithetical to human progress, really, and to the dignity of man. And so I said, look, my wife and I together, we said, look, we're pretty pragmatic. I mean, we're practical people. We're not ideologues in any way, shape, or form. So we said, we gotta start voting differently. So
What
anyway,
what year would that have been, Kevin? Where you and your wife
that
kind of
was
went, "Oh
Reagan's second
gosh."
term. That was Reagan's second term.
Okay.
And I forgot which year exactly it was,
So
but
84.
yeah, around 84.
Okay.
Light came on, and it was like, you know what? No, we're going the other way. So, but look, anybody that aligns with the Word of God, and and that would be pro life, pro humanity, pro that we would vote for. So we're not, it's not about, for us, we're not ideologues on just being straight GOP. We got to vote for.
Right.
We're conservative because we're biblical, and so that's just kind of how our vote comes out. So
Look where it's gotten us when people just vote down the ticket. I mean, that's the big problem, as we talked about off air, the uniparty.
yep,
And when your eyes got awoken, and mine got woken up probably in the late '80s. Where I'm a little younger than you, not by much, but it was that same feeling like, wow, both of these wings belong to the same bird, and you've got to vote what you feel in your heart and what's best in your heart and with God. So I totally appreciate that. So you get out of the projects, you get your degree. What happens next in life? You start really seeing what the political world's like, and where does that take you?
yeah. So then that really opened doors for me. I started doing a little bit of writing. It was all divinely inspired writing, so it's just like a download from God, and so that's how it was manifesting. And so I did some writing, and some people had heard about some of the one of my earlier books I wrote called Insanity, Instant Insanity. It was really a book about Barack Obama and about how we've gone collectively and instantly insane voting for somebody that's such a neophyte and so ridiculous in his stances, completely unprincipled. And I think we see that now bearing out over these many years and
But
over
very
again.
polished and very smooth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very, very.
Oh yeah.
A great. His prompter reading was just masterclass. I mean,
Yeah.
you know. But you get him without a prompter, he's in trouble. He's a lot of, a lot of.
Totally.
But anyway, so it was a book about that, and then I got approached by the Frederick Douglass Foundation. It was just starting at that time, and it said, "Look, would you like to open up a California chapter?" So I've been since it's going on 15 years. I've been, or at least 12. I've been the president and chairman of the Frederick Douglass Foundation of California, and so
With how did was there a lot of pushback getting that started, or was it just filling out paperwork and off you went?
no, just filling out paperwork off we went, and
Okay.
so we're not operating here in California now. It's for what we do, we're policy advocates, but we are a GOP Republican. Based on the legacy of Douglas. If you know anything about Frederick Douglass, you know that one of his famous quotes was, "I'm a black dyed-in-the-wool Republican because it's the only party of freedom and progress." So it's Frederick Douglass in the mid, 1800s. So, and the party has been consistently the only party of freedom and progress, I think, since that
But
time.
yet we let the Democratic Party tell us who we are.
Right.
We allow them to set the tone and the narrative on who we are, and it's a complete 180 of what they try to portray us in the media and in the public eye.
Yeah. 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 So we go around as the Frederick Douglass Foundation, try to dispel the myths of history, all the false narratives that are out there. Try to help, especially pastors, clergy, recognize that the greater responsibility is not to a party, but to our faith and to righteousness, right? Righteousness and faithfulness. So we go around California and try to encourage people to think differently so they can vote differently.
And there
Um,
are some sane people in California still. Am I right?
there a little bit, yeah. By and large, we're a captured state. We're a commie state, and I don't, I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, I wish it were different, but we have I mean, I think you could tell by virtue of a recent debate that he had. You could tell that we have a communist, very irrational and really quite conflicted governor here in California. So anyway, we got to fight that. So, but because of that, we really can't have fair voting here because he's put COVID rules in place in perpetuity here in California. A lot of people don't even know that. But what that means is that every single address, so whether it's a vacant lot now, whether it was a, a 2,000 person apartment complex that has been imploded for over a decade or not, doesn't matter. If there's addresses there, that's where they get the ballots delivered, and that's where they go and harvest all these old ballots. So I mean, and that's happened all over the state. So vacant lots and all of that, and so they get those old ballots for all these parcels that used to be, apartment buildings or people, buildings where people live, and they go and harvest those. And so, so because of that, you got illegals voting. We got probably 6 to 8 million illegals here in California. Every single address getting a ballot, there's no adjudication of votes or anything. So it's
That's a whole other show upon itself. But in this next segment, Kevin, I want to talk to you about how every Black Life Matters became what it is today. So if you can hang around for that, and we'll start talking about that in the next segment. We're inside the square with Kevin McGary, and we'll be right back.